Hey guys, it's Sasha, and today I'm here with a bookshelf recommendations video, and by that I mean I'm taking books off my shelf and I'm recommending them to you guys. And I just noticed that I have been on BookTube for 1 year since my first video, which came out on September 7th. So I just want to say thank you guys so much to all of you who subscribed to me and watched my videos. I love you all so much. Now, I picked a couple textbooks, different genres. Hope y'all will like some of my recommendations and hopefully read some of them, or tell me if you've actually read some of them and what you thought about them. So, the first book I'm going to recommend, I would say it's a middle grade book. It is historical fiction, and it is Anaconda. I'm not sure if that's how you actually pronounce her name, The Golden Flower, and it is a book in the Royal Diary series, and I actually have the whole series, and I'm recommending you the whole entire series. It is a series of books that centers around different princesses and or queens when they are in between the ages of like 12 to 16, and it goes all the way back to Cleopatra, and it ends with Anastasia, one of the last princesses of Russia. There are quite a number of women of color princesses in this series, and obviously Anaconda is one of them, but I would say half of the series at least is women of color, and I just really enjoyed all of these books as a child. I've loved historical fiction since I was young. It really teaches you a lot of stuff because even though this is historical fiction, in the back they have, you know, historical findings, they have pictures, they have the genealogy line, so you can like see this were her parents, these were her siblings or kids, and it's just really good for information, and it's a really good story overall. So I'd recommend the whole series to you guys. The next book I'd recommend to you guys is Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery, and I absolutely love Ellen Montgomery, and I absolutely love her Anne of Green Gables series, and when I'm recommending this book to you, I am in fact recommending the whole series. I read these many years ago, and I've reread them at least 5 times, and every time I read them I fall in love with them even more. The first couple of chapters in this book is not really my favorite. I feel like it is kind of slow, but once you really get into the book it really just flows, and the build-up of Anne's life and seeing all that she has to go through is really inspiring for some of it, but it's really just entertaining, and it makes you feel the emotions that Anne feels, and you really connect with the characters in this book. Ellen Montgomery's writing style is just so great. It is really whimsical and flowery, and it takes you places you really feel like you are there with Anne. The next book I'm going to be recommending you is Nicholas and Alexandra by Robert K. Massey, and this is a non-fiction biography about these two people and their lives, and Massey does such a great job with making his nonfiction not boring. He makes it so interesting to read about them, and he does great research with all of his books. I have Peter the Great and Catherine the Great by him also, and I've read them, and they are really good. I am in awe of him as an author, but I really love this book. This is my favorite book by him. I really like reading about the last royal family of Russia. The book really sparked my interest in them, and I really wanted to know more about them. I've only read, I think, one other book on them, and it was from Anastasia's point of view. It is in the Royal Diary series, as I talked about earlier in this video, and I would like to pick up some more books on them, but I have not as of yet. I felt that it was a really great read for me. So the next book I'm going to be recommending to you is YA. It is kind of a fantasy, has some mythology in there, but it is really more a romance book, and it is The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. Now, this has been one of my favorite reads for this year. This has been some of my only 5-star books that I have read that have not been for school, and the way she writes this book is just so incredible. The plot is really character driven, so if you're really looking for a fast plot, this probably isn't the book for you, but how she develops her characters and how they come along is just so great. The mythology she did behind this book was really great. I really liked how she weaved that in there. Plot overall was really interesting. I kind of expected the end, but getting there was very, 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 very fun, and I really enjoyed taking that ride. I was really, really sad when this book ended because I would have liked another one. I wish this really wasn't a standalone. Loved how the romance developed. It was done really well. It wasn't done cheesy or, I would say, the typical YA way. Another book I'm recommending to you is actually a series, and I don't have the first book that I'm showing. I have the last book in the series that I'm showing you actually, and it is The Key to Zion. But it is part of the Zion Chronicles by Bodhi and Brock Taney, and I love Bodhi and Brock Taney. They are one of my favorite authors. I have the majority of their works on my shelf. I'm only missing a couple of books from them. This is Christian fiction, historical fiction. I love how it's not typical Christian fiction. A lot of Christian fiction I've read has been very cheesy, but they actually put in the time and research in their books to make it feel like you're actually in that time period. This series takes place in World War II, and it's dealing mostly in the Middle East, and I really enjoyed seeing that perspective because you don't really hear about that much in history. And I really liked all of the characters. They have a couple of different characters that they focus on throughout this series, but I enjoyed them all, even though I have obviously my favorites more than others. And I really liked seeing the characters go along. A lot of stuff happens in this series. This is probably one of my favorite series of all time. These are some of my favorite authors of all time. So I would definitely recommend this series and these authors. And the last book I'm going to be talking to you about is adult historical fiction, and that is The 20th Wife by Indu Sundarisi-san. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce her last name, but I'm doing the best I can here. And this was my second book by this author. First book I read was Shadow Princess by her, and I really enjoyed that book, but that is actually the third in a kind of series, and this is the first one. I really, 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 really love this book. I rated it 5 stars, I do believe. First of all, obviously I've said throughout this book multiple times I love historical fiction, love history, and I do like learning about other cultures, and this is set in India, obviously. I was really enthralled with the main character in this book. I like seeing her journey, how she gets from where she begins to how she becomes the 20th wife. Indu is a masterful storyteller, how she weaves all these characters and the overall plot, their ambitions throughout this book. Plus, who wouldn't like a book with this cover on it? It is really just beautiful. I love all of her books because the aesthetically are very pleasing. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll catch y'all later. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out my book blurb and all my other social media links. They'll be in the description down below. Bye!